guide them, and then we give them the wings to fly. And I always respect Barron's yes and no and what he likes to do, where he would like to be.
Melania Trump has taken a bold step in defending her reputation by filing a staggering $100 million defamation lawsuit against The View and its co-host, Sunny Hostin. The lawsuit stems from a recent episode where Hostin, along with other panelists, made damaging claims about Melania's personal life, marriage, and role as First Lady. These statements, which suggested Melania resented her position, disliked Christmas, and was unhappy in her marriage, have now led to a legal showdown. With the lawsuit, Melania is not just seeking financial compensation but also sending a clear message about the limits of media criticism and the protection of public figures from harmful false narratives. Melania Trump's defamation lawsuit against The View, a legal showdown. In recent months, a high-profile legal battle has emerged that has not only sent shockwaves through the media landscape, but also sparked widespread debate about the limits of free speech, media responsibility, and the protection of public figures' reputations. The battle, which pits former First Lady Melania Trump against the co-hosts of the popular daytime talk show The View, has captivated the public's attention for various reasons. At its heart, the legal dispute centers around a defamation lawsuit that Melania Trump has filed against the show, claiming that its co-hosts, particularly Sunny Hostin, made false and damaging statements about her personal life, her marriage, and her attitudes toward her role as First Lady. This legal action, which demands a staggering $100 million in damages, has the potential to reshape the way talk shows approach their discussions of public figures and how far they can go when making personal and potentially damaging comments. For Melania Trump, it is a fight to defend her reputation and her dignity, but it also raises important questions about the broader role of the media in shaping public perceptions, particularly when it comes to individuals who are constantly in the public eye. The seeds of controversy. The View's long-standing criticism of Melania Trump. Since her time in the White House, Melania Trump has been a frequent subject of discussion, scrutiny, and, at times, ridicule. The public's perception of her has always been complex, with some viewing her as an enigmatic figure, someone who remained largely silent during her husband's presidency, choosing to speak only when necessary, often presenting herself as a private person who preferred to avoid the spotlight. Yet, despite her reticence, her every move seemed to attract attention, with the media and public constantly speculating about her thoughts and motivations. The View, known for its bold and often polarizing commentary, was one of the shows that frequently brought up Melania's name. From the redesign of the Rose Garden to rumors about her disliking traditional holiday decor, The View has aired numerous discussions that have sparked heated reactions. The show's co-hosts were never shy about offering their opinions on Melania's choices and behavior, whether that be the way she decorated the White House for Christmas or her perceived attitude towards her husband. Some segments seemed to lean heavily into speculation, suggesting that Melania wasn't fully invested in her role as First Lady, or that she actively distanced herself from her husband, Donald Trump. While some viewers of The View may have found this type of conversation entertaining or even enlightening, others felt it was an invasion of privacy, especially when it came to personal matters. Rumors about Melania's marriage to Donald Trump were particularly rampant, with some co-hosts speculating that she might harbor resentment toward her husband, suggesting that she was unhappy with the public scrutiny, and possibly even unhappy in her marriage. These insinuations, often presented as light-hearted gossip, would eventually prove to be central to Melania's legal case. The $100 million lawsuit, the beginning of legal action. The defamation lawsuit filed by Melania Trump against The View represents a significant escalation in the tension between the former First Lady and the media. While Melania had previously remained largely silent in response to the negative commentary about her, the comments made on one particular episode of The View reportedly crossed a line. In this episode, co-hosts of the show, including Sunny Hostin, made bold claims about Melania's personal life and her relationship with her husband. These comments were not presented as speculation or jokes, but as definitive statements, implying that Melania harbored deep resentment toward her role as First Lady and toward Donald Trump. One particularly damaging assertion suggested that Melania disliked Christmas, and refused to decorate for the holiday, something that had become a point of contention among Melania's critics. Another claim suggested that Melania and Donald Trump had grown so distant that she actively avoided him, potentially plotting to separate from him if he returned to the White House. These statements, presented as fact, deeply offended Melania and led her to take the legal route. According to her legal team, these remarks were not only untrue, but also harmful to her reputation. The lawsuit asserts that the statements made on The View were false, malicious, and made without regard for their potential to damage her image. By filing for $100 million in damages, Melania is making a clear statement about the severity of the harm she believes was done to her. This amount is seen by many as a reflection of the gravity with which Melania views this attack on her character, as well as a warning to other media outlets about the consequences of making unfounded claims about public figures. The impact of defamation lawsuits on media freedom. The defamation lawsuit filed by Melania Trump has brought to the forefront the ongoing debate over the limits of free speech, especially in the realm of television and social media. Talk shows like The View have long been platforms for lively debates, where opinions about public figures are aired openly. These discussions often involve speculation, humor, and at times, sharp criticism. But where does the line between opinion and defamation lie? To win a defamation case, a plaintiff must prove that the statements made about them were false, harmful, and made with malice or negligence. In this case, Melania Trump's legal team argues that the co-hosts of The View went beyond mere speculation and presented their opinions as facts. By suggesting that Melania hated Christmas, resented her role as First Lady, or was unhappy in her marriage, they not only made unfounded accusations, but also portrayed her in a negative light, potentially damaging her ability to maintain her personal brand and pursue future opportunities. These kinds of claims can have serious consequences for public figures, particularly when they are broadcast to millions of viewers. Critics of Melania's lawsuit argue that talk shows like The View should be allowed to express their opinions, even if they are controversial or critical of public figures. After all, talk shows are a staple of American media, and much of their appeal lies in their ability to offer a platform for diverse voices and opinions. They argue that the beauty of free speech is that it allows for open discourse, even if that discourse is uncomfortable at times. Some believe that the lawsuit could have a chilling effect on free speech and lead to self-censorship among media personalities who fear the repercussions of legal action. On the other hand, supporters of Melania's lawsuit contend that there should be limits to what can be said about public figures, especially when the statements are false or harmful. The lawsuit is seen by some as a necessary step to hold media outlets accountable for spreading misinformation and damaging reputations. For Melania, this is not just about defending herself. It's about setting a precedent for how media outlets should treat public figures and ensuring that the line between commentary and defamation is clearly defined. The role of ABC and The View. What's at stake for the network? One of the most significant aspects of this defamation lawsuit is the potential impact it could have on The View and its parent network, ABC. Although the lawsuit is aimed primarily at the co-hosts of the show, particularly Sunny Hostin, there is a broader question about whether ABC will be held responsible for the statements made on its platform. In high-stakes defamation cases, the network or outlet that airs the defamatory statements can sometimes be held liable as well. As the legal battle continues to unfold, ABC executives will likely be monitoring the situation closely. While The View thrives on its bold and often controversial personalities, the network may be forced to reconsider how it handles sensitive topics in the future. The lawsuit could lead to greater oversight of the co-hosts' remarks, possibly resulting in more careful vetting of content before it airs. Additionally, if the lawsuit proceeds and Melania is successful in her claim, ABC could be forced to issue public apologies, face financial penalties, or even see changes in the way the show is produced. For The View, this lawsuit could mark a turning point in the way the show approaches its discussions of public figures. While the show's co-hosts are known for their strong opinions and their willingness to engage in heated debates, they now find themselves in a position where their words have legal consequences. This could lead to a more cautious approach in the future, as producers and co-hosts weigh the potential fallout from controversial statements. The legal battle ahead. What's at stake for Sunny Hostin? Sunny Hostin, one of The View's most outspoken co-hosts, has found herself at the center of this legal storm. Known for her legal background and her sharp commentary, Hostin has been one of the most vocal critics of Melania Trump. Her statements about the former First Lady, particularly regarding her marriage and personal life, are the focus of Melania's defamation suit. Hostin's understanding of the law means that she is expected to know the boundaries of free speech, which makes this case all the more complicated. If the lawsuit proceeds to trial, Hostin may be required to provide evidence to support her claims, clarify her statements, and possibly reveal her sources. This could lead to a public airing of behind-the-scenes discussions, which could further complicate matters for The View and ABC. For Hostin, the stakes are incredibly high. As a legal expert, she is expected to know the boundaries of free speech, and her credibility as a commentator could be on the line. If Melania's team is successful in proving that Hostin's statements were made with malice or negligence, it could lead to serious consequences for Hostin's career and her standing within the network. The public's reaction. Divided opinions. As news of the lawsuit spreads, public opinion has been sharply divided. Melania Trump supporters view the lawsuit as a necessary step to defend her reputation and draw a line against false and damaging claims. For them, the lawsuit represents a broader fight against media outlets that spread misinformation and attempt to destroy public figures' reputations for the sake of entertainment. On the other hand, critics of the lawsuit argue that Melania is attempting to stifle free speech and curtail the type of discourse that makes talk shows like The View engaging. These critics see the lawsuit as an attempt to silence critics and prevent difficult conversations about public figures, particularly those with significant political power. The future of media and defamation lawsuits. Melania Trump's defamation lawsuit against The View is a pivotal moment in the ongoing discussion about the role of the media, free speech, and the protection of public figures' reputations. With $100 million at stake, the legal battle has the potential to set new precedents for how talk shows handle controversial topics and how public figures defend themselves against defamatory remarks. As the case moves forward, it will undoubtedly spark more debates about the balance between media freedom and the need to protect individuals from false and harmful claims. For Melania Trump, this lawsuit represents more than just a legal fight. It is an opportunity to defend her name and send a message about the importance of responsible media coverage. The outcome of this case could have far-reaching implications for how public figures interact with the media and how the media navigates the fine line between opinion and defamation.